It looks like I'm live. So I'm good, right? Can you hear me okay?
Not yet.
Not yet, huh? It says Joel Fuhrman, Nutrient Women is live now.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to write here in the comment, can people hear me? And see if anybody says something.
Okay.
Sandra joined. Carrie joined. So people are joining. They're coming on. It looks like it's working. We have 7 people logged in.
Great.
And Sandra said yes, she can hear me. So people said yes, they can hear me. So they're coming in and they can hear me. So I think it's good.
Perfect.
Can see and hear you. Wendy said, Wanda Huberman's here. Said, I can hear you, Joel. Great. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Sandra. Hey, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to stall and wait, can give more people time to come in because it's still only 5:59. So we'll just wait I'll keep it live and we'll just wait a couple minutes,
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Should I hang up or stay on the phone with you?
Either way.
Are you getting an echo from the phone and from the Facebook Live?
I'm not, but if you want, I'll be at this phone number if you need to call me. It's still
Okay.
5:59, so we'll just wait a couple. Keep it live and we'll just wait a couple minutes.
Oh, it's a little late. Okay, I'll say goodbye. All right, see you, Jay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bye. Hi, everybody. Just sitting here doing nothing, waiting for people to come in and join. We have about 11 people signed up. Well, I'm on the call now, of course. It's now only 6 o'clock, so maybe I'll wait till at least 6:03 to give people a chance to get on here. So it's, as you can see, pretty rainy here in New Jersey. And it's 6 o'clock at night here, which I guess it's wherever you guys are. I think most of you guys are from the East Coast like I am. Oh, Carol's there too. Sandra, Carol, Wanda, well, I'm going to see you guys in a couple of weeks, right? On November 2nd, you're coming into New Jersey. Looking forward to it. So where is everybody here? There's only 13 people here. I thought there's going to be 100 people. Maybe there may be 13 people on here, and we'll hope that 100 people come on here in the next 1 minute, 60 seconds. Where is everybody? I think I'll call back Jay, making sure that it's been announced. Oh, there's 28 people now. Okay, that's good. So maybe people are coming on now. 30. Okay. Oh, Carol, you said can't wait. Great. I'm in Newport Beach. It's 85 degrees. Oh, wow. Oh, in Florida. Oh, wow. Cool. Hi, Melanie. Okay, we have some more people coming on. So it's good I'm stalling. People are coming on late. I'm going to text Jay. All right, now we have about 40 people, I guess. All right, it's now 6:03. I guess I'll wait one more minute and then get started. There are still some people coming on, so that's good. Oh, Jay said that it doesn't matter. I could get started because even if people haven't started or come on, it's going to be taped and posted for other people to view later. So let's get started then, okay? So how I'll work is I'm going to get started now, and then probably I'll speak for, somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, and then I'll look in the chat box. I know I can't hear you guys speak, but I could see what you write down, and I can pick the questions out of the chat box that's coming through. So right now I'm scrolling down to the bottom of the chat box. And okay, right. So I can scroll down to the chat box at the bottom, and the last person that commented was Linda on the Gulf Coast of Texas, and we're getting started. Okay, so I can see, I'll scroll down to that chat box further and I'll get to comments after the presentation. So now I'm just going to talk for a while, okay? Because we're talking here about overeating, food addiction, fat on the body, toxic hunger, things like that. Let's go over some of these basics again to make sure people understand how important this is, because certainly one facet of a nutritarian diet is eating healthy food and eating anti-cancer foods. So we know that eating greens and mushrooms and beans and onions and scallions and cabbages and bok choy and flax seeds and wild blueberries. We know how to eat microgreens, eat your sprouts, eat your soybeans. We know how important it is to eat a wide variety of high nutrient foods. And that's what we hope all you guys are doing. And that's very important because only with a strong nutrient exposure can we adequately control our appestat and our appetite, which are two different things. So we'll talk about that briefly. One of the primary principles for people first learning about a nutritarian diet is that when you don't eat enough high nutrient, high phytochemical plants, your body builds up more metabolic waste products. In other words, you're eating empty calorie foods like white rice and pasta and chicken and eggs and fish. What I'm saying right here is I consider that honey and maple syrup and white rice junk food. They're junk food because they give us calories with an insignificant micronutrient load. And I also consider chicken junk food because chicken is calories with an insignificant micronutrient load. It just gives us protein with no micronutrients and fiber. Why not take your protein with micronutrients, like eating beans or quinoa, or something like a pine nut or a sunflower seed, which gives us our protein with tocotrienols and terpenes and all types of bioflavonoids and all types of beneficial phytochemicals. In other words, the body is meant to take in calories with the accompanying antioxidants and phytochemicals that helps reduce the negative metabolic effects of digestion, because digestion and eating and digesting food produces free radicals, and we have to diffuse and remove them. And eating food utilizes nutrients, so we have to supply the nutrients that are needed to metabolize that food and to, of course, allow other nutrients for the other utilization and immune support and musculoskeletal function and brain function of the body. So when our food we eat supplies us with nutrients, we get good health. And when we eat food that doesn't supply us adequate nutrients, we breed ill health, but we also breed what we call toxicosis, which means we build up more metabolic waste products in our body the more we eat low nutrient food. When we build up toxicosis in the body, and then when we're not digesting food, that's when we feel it the most. In other words, if you're smoking cigarettes and you quit smoking cigarettes, you're going to feel bad because you stopped smoking. If you want to smoke and put the toxins back in, you're going to feel better. In other words, when you take toxins away and when you supply the opportunity for the body to heal itself, the healing is costly in the discomfort it's going to cost you. You're going to feel uncomfortable as the body tries to repair itself and remove waste products. So you can feel better by snorting cocaine or drinking more coffee, but feeling worse, stopping the coffee, stopping the cocaine makes you feel worse. And when people are not eating healthy, they feel like they got to eat the most amount of calories because stopping eating makes them feel bad because they feel really wiped out, wasted, fatigued, mental fog, headachy, and they can't focus and they can't concentrate. They can't keep working They have to go get food to enable them to keep working, because when they're in the non-feeding state, they're ridding themselves of toxins, and it becomes too uncomfortable. They get mentally fogged. They start to get an underlying level of anxiety, and if they're active, they start to feel fatigued. And because eating is stimulating, and eating takes you out of the detox or self-repair mode, it makes you feel better. So people have to eat too much and too frequently to remain in a digestive mode in order to feel okay. And we call those sensations that make you feel ill when you're not eating, we call them toxic hunger. And we call them toxic hunger because they're really detox symptoms. And only people who are toxic feel them. When your level of retained metabolic wastes are low because you're eating a diet that's high in nutrients and relatively pure in the point of processed foods and artificial and noxious substances in your food, then you're not going to feel ill when you don't eat. You're going to feel nothing when you don't eat, and you're not going to be driven to eat to feel okay. You can wait to eat now until you really get true hunger, which is felt in the neck and the throat and the upper part of the chest. True hunger is accompanied by enhanced taste sensation, makes food taste better. So a lot of us nutritarians prefer not to eat until we get hungry, because then eating is going to taste so much better when we do eat. So people can come into my office and bring me a soup, and they say, "Hey, Joel, this is the best soup I've ever had. You got to taste this super healthy, great soup." And I'll say, "Oh, great, I'd love to have some, but let me put it in the refrigerator for now, and I'll wait till I get hungry, and I'll eat it later when I'm hungry, because then I'll enjoy it more." In other words, we probably, if we're really healthy, we need less food than we think we need. And the secret here to living a long life is eating a little bit less and keeping your body slim. Because fat on the body is pathologic, is dangerous tissue. There's no such thing as a healthy overweight person. All overweight people are unhealthy because fat cells spew out toxins because they're naturally hypoxic tissue. They don't have a great blood supply. They produce more waste products. They release pro-inflammatory substances, which excite the aromatase enzyme to produce more estrogen. So fat cells themselves promote angiogenesis. The word angiogenesis means so new blood vessels can grow and fuel the growth of fat. And the primary hormones that promote fat growth and promote angiogenesis are insulin and insulin-like growth factor 1. So when we eat foods that are high in sugar and put a high glucose spike in our bloodstream, then insulin becomes the primary fat storage hormones, and the fat cells now produce more other pro-angiogenesis type substances. So fat in general is always promoting angiogenesis, promoting substances, which the word angiogenesis is promoting new blood vessels to grow, and that permissively allows cancers to grow and replicate simultaneously to allowing fat to grow. When you're allowing fat to grow in your body, you're allowing cancers to grow, because the same hormones that are allowing fat to get on your body are allowing cancers, other cells, to replicate and grow simultaneously to the fat. You can't just selectively allow the fat to grow and not allow other cells that shouldn't be growing to allow them to grow as well. When we don't allow fat to grow, we don't promote angiogenesis, which now retards other cells from growing and cancers from growing. Fat cells, because fat blocks the uptake of insulin, fat cells now require a higher insulin response from the pancreas in response to anything you eat. If you ate a mango or some berries, you now have the body have a higher insulin load being produced, thus promoting more angiogenesis and promoting more tumor growth and promoting more fat growth. Now, I was saying before, fat cells spew out toxic compounds like lipokines and cytokines, which excite aromatase production, which means you produce more estrogen. A person who's overweight can have 10 times the amount of estrogen stimulation of breast tissue compared to a person of a normal weight or a person eating healthy at a normal weight. So we're talking about huge amount of estrogen stimulation that occurs in people who are overweight that doesn't occur in people who are thinner. And extra estrogen production by the body increases risk of breast cancer and prostate cancer in men, of course. So what I'm saying here is that if a person is normal blood pressure, normal cholesterol, but not diabetic, and they're overweight, they're not healthy. And when you eat things that are fattening, like olive oil, you're promoting breast cancer. So that's right, I'm saying here that olive oil promotes breast cancer. Because when you eat these oils, like olive oil and canola oil and sunflower oil and soybean oil, the oil is absorbed so rapidly. And the rapid absorption of oil stops fat breakdown because the body stores that fat. It puts the fat away and stores it as fat. Within, they say, from the lips to the hips in 3 minutes flat. Goes immediately onto your fat supply. And it becomes a substance. Then eating oils are stopping lipolysis. They're stopping the breakdown of fat. You're not going to lose weight for the next few days because you're putting fat on the body, not taking it off. The body can't put fat on and take it off at the same time. It's putting fat on, it's not taking fat off. It says, not going to take fat off because you're putting fat on. Oils go into the bloodstream so rapidly, and the rapid concentration of calories entering the bloodstream also signal dopamine receptors in the brain, which is a stimulatory effect on the apostat, which makes you want to eat more food. So now if you mix the oil and the food, you're not just going to have the extra 100 calories from the oil, you're going to eat more food that the 100 calories of oil will put on. So you might have 200 calories extra from the extra 100 calories of oil. So yes, olive oil, it stops you from losing weight, and it causes you to become fat, and causes you to become fat and increase risk of cancer. So olive oil increases risk of cancer. A nutritarian is a person at a normal weight, like a BMI of 22, less than 22 for a woman or less than 23 for a male, favorable BMI, or it's a person who's overweight, who's moving towards their ideal weight. So if you're a nutritarian and you're overweight and you're not losing weight, then you're not a nutritarian because you haven't yet tweaked your diet to be right for you. So if it was the right way of eating for you, you'd be losing weight a little bit if you were overweight. In other words, you have to regulate the nutrient per calorie density of your diet and regulate what foods you eat, because we have different metabolic rates and we have different caloric needs. And you've got to ascertain what that caloric need is for you so you continue to gradually lose weight, moving towards your best weight. And you know what? A slower metabolic rate is more favorable. Let's look, I weigh 150 pounds. So what if I had, let's just say for argument's sake, I need 1,500 calories a day as my basal metabolic rate. Then what if I ate 1,700 calories a day? I did an extra 200 calories a day. What'll happen to my weight? Well, it's at 3,500 calories a pound, about 350 days a year. So it's every 100 calories extra you ate puts about 10 pounds a year. So as a result, about 10 pounds. So if I have 200 calories extra a day, I'm going to weigh 20 pounds more at the end of the year, right? No, it's not right, because you know what will happen? The body, when you eat more calories, the body raises its metabolic rate. That means it raises its body temperature. It raises its respiratory quotient, the calories lost through breathing, and it'll turn up the thyroid a bit, burn the thyroid a little faster. So it'll try to burn up the calories when you eat extra calories. So only gain 10 pounds that year. Now, if I need 1,500 calories a day and I only eat 1,400, 100 calories too less, I don't lose 10 pounds that year. My body will resist losing because I'm already below 10% of calories. My body is already low 10% body fat. I'm already at my favorable weight. So my metabolism is going to slow from the reduction in calories. That means, so it won't lose that much weight. Only lose a few pounds. So my body will lower its body temperature a little bit. It'll lower the respiratory quotient, it'll lower the thyroid function. You know, in the normal range of thyroid function, normal 3T4, the bottom half has half the heart attack rate as the top half, and the bottom half lives longer. It's better to have slower metabolic rate. In general, when you eat extra calories, it speeds up your metabolic rate, means it speeds up the aging process. The battery, the flashlight in the battery burns itself out when you keep the flashlight turned on, and you save the energy, the charge in that battery when you keep the flashlight turned off. And eating extra calories is utilizing and shrinking your telomeres, burning off your stem cells, and sucking away your health at the end of your life. It's like, you know, you're feeding yourself now so you don't have the energy and lifespan left at the end of your life, whereas moderately caloric restricting, eating light for dinner, skipping a couple of dinners, going to bed a little hungry sometimes, just shifting your calories so you're just a tiny bit under eating and you have a favorable weight and adjusting yourself to the favorable weight, that's what stabilizes the stem cells, keeps your telomeres long, stops you from aging as rapidly, and keeps your immune system and your body functioning well in your later years. What I'm saying right now is a nutritarian wants to moderately slow their metabolic rate down, wants to moderately calorically restrict so we can age slower and we can eat a little less food and not get fat. In other words, the average person out there thinks they want to speed up the metabolic rate so they can eat more food and not get fat. We don't want to speed up a metabolic rate so we can eat more food. We want to slow down our metabolic rate so we can eat less food. We want to slow down our metabolic rate so we can eat less food and not get too thin. We don't want to become anorexic and become wasted and become weak and have weak muscles and bones. We want to be strong and muscular. We want to eat a little bit less so we can still maintain our muscular strength. And as we age, so we want to just moderately caloric restrict, a little bit to keep ourselves thin, but not too thin. So under that framework of letting for me, for example, I want to skip some dinners, do some episodes of intermittent fasting where I'm going to eat light at night or eat an earlier dinner. And but I'm not going to let my weight drop below 145. I want to keep it, keep on that, what's that word? That optimal tightrope of eating as little as I can without letting my weight drop too low. That's the secret to a long, healthy life. And this other secret we're talking about here has to do with this time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting. Is it better to just, skip breakfast and start eating lunch to get more of the fasting window? No, that's not the best thing to do. The best thing is to eat breakfast and lunch and skip dinner. It's better to eat an earlier dinner or eat a lighter dinner. The better is to do your fasting window at the end of the day, not at the beginning of the day. It's going to bed on an empty stomach that's most critical for your longevity. It's not having food in your stomach when you lie in bed at night to go to sleep. It's making sure you eat early enough so your meal is completely digested and there's nothing going on in your stomach at all when you go to bed at night. So making sure you finish dinner by 6 o'clock and go to bed at 10 o'clock, that's 4 hours after dinner before you had to go to bed at night. That's what we're looking for. I eat dinner. Some days I eat dinner at 4 o'clock. If I can't, and if I have to eat dinner at 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock, then I'm going to eat a much lighter dinner. Maybe I'll just have some fruit and a salad, eat something very light, because I know I'm not going to have, if I have to eat later at night, I want to eat a lighter dinner because I don't want to put a heavy to digest meal with lots of calories and into my stomach at night. That's really something you got to recognize is important to do. Okay, so I covered a little bit about toxic hunger and true hunger, a little bit about the dangers of fat, a little bit about how not too much, but a little bit about how concentrated calories, like the rush of calories into the bloodstream through sugar, white flour, white potato, oils, and you have these calories that are digested very rapidly, it stimulates you to want to eat more. So sure, sugar, salt, and oil make you want to eat more and stimulate your appetite. But so does when you eat oil on your food or eat concentrated calories or high glycemic carbohydrates, it makes you want to eat more calories. That's why we want to stack our food and eat soups with beans in them and mushrooms and onions, and eat wok vegetable dishes with greens and with cooked greens, and and that's why we want to eat a lot of volume and fiber, because fiber is something that reduces the appestat, and of course it slows down the absorption of nutrients. All right, that's enough for an introduction for today. So now I'll take your questions. I'm going to scroll down here. You went and saw The Game Changers. Dude, you saved my life. That reminds me of a song. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Did you see that movie yesterday? I just saw it the other day where this guy, he gets into a different dimension where they didn't invent the Beatles, and he becomes the inventor of all the Beatles songs, which he knew because he was the only one who knew that. It was so funny. And then they were telling him to change the song Hey, Jude into Hey, Dude. You got to see that movie. It was really funny. 95 pounds lost and 75 to go. Woo, that is fantastic. You know what? Remember I told you a few minutes ago that when you're overweight, you're producing more of these dangerous compounds and extra estrogens and extra angiogenesis modes. But here's the thing, is if you're overweight and you're losing weight at least 1 kilogram a week, which is about 2.2 pounds a week, then you stop producing all those insulin-like compounds. Your fat cells stop spewing out so much dangerous inflammatory mediators, and your angiogenesis goes down, and your insulin resistance goes down. In other words, what I'm saying is the extra fat in your body, the danger of the extra fat keeps becoming less and less when you're eating this way and you're losing weight. So since you're losing and dropping steadily, the fat is no longer as dangerous because you're moving in the right direction. That's why I'm saying a nutritarian getting these benefits is either moving in the right direction or they're there already. But as long as you're not overweight and stagnated, so you're great. That's fantastic that you lost 95 pounds already. That's fantastic. And you're still moving. Okay. Toxic hunger. Does this apply when you eat, but you don't overeat and think you don't overeat, and think you still feel hungry. Toxic hunger means you're feeling ill, mostly headachy, shaky, hangry, like a little bit angry, irritable, stomach cramping, fluttering, and mostly fatigue is the main thing people feel. Fatigue, lack of concentration. Real hunger, like if I'm really hungry, it doesn't make me feel fatigued. I can go out for a run and it'll make the hunger go away. It doesn't make me feel fatigued. It just makes me feel hungry. So real hunger is felt right here. And it makes, it's not that uncomfortable. And if I feel a little hungry up here at night, I'll just go to bed. I won't have to eat. Okay, what about thin outside, fat inside? Yeah, that's right. There's people who look like they're not overweight, but when you do a body fat analysis on them, they still have high body fat. And they need to exercise to put more muscle. So I tell people like that, I say, you need to lose 10 pounds of fat and put on 5 pounds of muscle. That means we want you to drop 5 pounds, but as you drop 5 pounds, you need to do some weightlifting and exercising. And I always say you lose weight in the kitchen and you gain muscle in the gym. You can't lose fat in the gym. You can't, because, one cookie, one half a bagel, you defeated your whole day's work. The point is that you have to eat right to lose weight. But if you also want to have some, want to be healthy, you still have to exercise. So we want people to maintain the musculature. So there's a lot of people who are overweight, or people who follow this program, and they say relative, they're too thin. Not too thin. They still have too much fat on their body. You can't, and you don't eat more. If you're too thin, you're not eating more to prevent yourself from being too thin. You're exercising more to prevent yourself from being too thin. Because eating more is not going to put muscle on your thighs and your butt and your arms and your shoulders and your hips. Eating's more not going to put muscle on you. Eating more just puts fat on you. There's no benefit to putting more fat on you. The only way you can put more muscle on you if you go to the gym and lift heavier weights and exercise more. Okay. Thank you for saying hi from California. Don't all cells grow from glucose, healthy and cancer? Well, glucose is a form of calories. Their body needs a certain amount of calories. Their brain is the biggest utilizer of glucose. In other words, as you're sitting here listening to me, 80% of your caloric needs are being utilized by the brain. And the brain needs glucose to function, so we need some to function. It's the excess glucose that the body and the brain are not utilizing becomes fat. So some glucose to meet your needs is not bad. We eat some fruit, we eat some quinoa, we eat, whatever we're eating. We're eating bananas, whatever I'm eating, I'm getting glucose, but my body wants that glucose for energy. I'm burning it up. A little exercise, my brain's burning it up. Not because I'm so brilliant, just because the brain burns up everybody's glucose. That was a stupid joke. So don't all cells grow from glucose? No, not all cells grow from glucose. Glucose is a source of energy. Your brain's not growing, it's just utilizing the energy from the glucose. But the excess glucose you're not utilizing, that's going to fuel fat on the body. And anything that fuels fat is also allowing other cells to replicate besides fat. So it's permitting cancer to grow. The extra weight, the extra glucose, the extra calories that you're consuming that you're not burning off allows cancer to grow, but especially when you're lacking of phytonutrients and antioxidants in the body. Okay, if fat is bad, why is keto effective? Well, keto, what do you mean keto is effective? Well, it could be effective for losing weight, but it's also effective for shortening lifespan and accelerating your rate of death. So we don't, you can snort cocaine to lose weight, and you can snort cocaine and smoke cigarettes simultaneously, which is a good way to lose weight. Not that I recommend that, because it has long-term negative effects. So people looking short-term, it's really about keto is about people's love affair with meat. Really, it's about the love affair with meat, and they want to still eat their meat. So they cut out all the carbohydrates, and they're eating coconut oil and olive oil and avocado and meats, but they want to stay away from carbohydrate. So now the brain is starved of carbohydrate. And since the brain fuel is carbohydrate, and there's no carbohydrate coming in or not enough, the brain thinks you're fasting. It thinks you're not eating, so it starts to develop ketones, to use ketones as an alternative energy fuel that's utilized in the starvation state or fasting state. So your body can burn, so the brain can burn ketones as an alternative emergency fuel in place of glucose when there's no glucose coming in. It takes a few days to be able to convert to a ketose metabolism. So because the brain now becomes a large utilizer of ketones, which is a fat breakdown product, and there's no glucose coming in. There could be fat breakdown on the body to source the brain's need for ketones, and the person will lose weight. But it causes an acidotic state, and because the person now has this fat and the saturated fat is distorting the shape of the insulin receptor. So now you're becoming more insulin resistant. But you're not having glucose, your sugars aren't going up. The minute you have a piece of fruit, the minute you have something that was carbohydrates, you can get a huge glucose response and a huge insulin response because you've made yourself, so you're now you've made yourself, so you can't eat fruit because you've distorted the shape of your insulin receptors. So now instead of eating right and having normal insulin receptors, you have pathologic insulin receptors. And now that you're on this keto diet, you don't tolerate carbohydrates now because they result in too high of a glucose response because you made it that way from being on a keto diet. But who cares anyway? Because it's going to kill you. Because we know that when you take fruit out of a diet, you have a higher risk of cancer and you have higher cardiovascular death. So it's irrelevant. We can put you on a Twinkie diet. Twinkie diet causes you to lose weight because people get sick of eating Twinkies and they can't eat as many calories, but it's not a healthy way to live a long time by being on a Twinkie diet. We got to look for studies that evaluate people going on for decades with thousands of people. When we do that, we see that keto diets and even any diet that takes away fruit makes you live a shorter life. Actually, any diet that takes away anything that's healthy makes you live a shorter life. In other words, your longevity is dependent on the variety of high nutrient longevity producing foods, longevity stimulating foods you can eat. In other words, the more exposure to phytochemicals, the different types of food in the plant kingdom. When you take beans out of a diet, people don't live as long. When you take nuts and seeds out of a diet, people don't live as long. When you take fruit out of the diet, people don't live as long. When you take greens out of the diet, people don't live as long. In other words, we have an unprecedented opportunity in human history. Better than the blue zones that eat a more narrow diet. We can have a broad spectrum, a wide variety of plant foods that having that wide variety, these nutrients work synergistically. We're not excluding certain foods for any magical fads. We're including all these plant foods in our diet in the right levels, and we're not overeating them. And we're doing so in a manner that's maximally enhancing human longevity. So this is not just a weight loss program. This is a program that maximizes human longevity, prevents dementia, cancer, heart attacks, and strokes. And the side effect is if you do this right, you'll be at the right weight, and you'll maintain that right weight for the rest of your life. Okay, next question. If there is a limit of no oil homemade hummus, can we eat a day? Is there a limit of no oil homemade hummus if it has no oil? Well, don't forget, hummus I want people to make from whole sesame seeds, not from the sesame seeds that are whole. So much commercial hummus is made from whole sesame seeds, so it's not as nutritious anyway. Look, there's a limit on everything you should eat. And that limit is so you shouldn't eat till you're full. You should, if you're never getting hungry, you're chronically overeating. You should limit your food so you know you get hungry episodically, so you know you're not overeating. And your body weight should be favorable. But people can, you can overeat. You have to decide how much food you should eat. You have to decide, are you eating the right amount of food for lunch? Because if it gets to dinner time and you're not hungry, you overate at lunch. If you got to lunch and you were not hungry, you overate at breakfast. You don't want to eat so much. You want to eat the right amount so you get hungry before the next meal. If you're not hungry before the next meal, delay eating or don't eat the next meal. And only eat 2 meals that day. Don't just keep eating because it's time to eat. Don't recreationally eat. To become overweight, a person had to have eaten outside of the demands of true hunger. They had to have eaten when they were not hungry because of recreational, there's time to eat, because of emotional eating, because of toxic hunger, because of some reason, socialization of their eating patterns, whatever it is, you're eating when you're not hungry if you're overweight. Please address Lyme disease. Well, that's not what we're talking about tonight, but how much fruit I should be eating. I have Lyme arthritis. Well, all I could say is that if you had Lyme disease in the past and it was adequately treated, and now you have post-Lyme arthritis, or you have, the effects of antibiotics and the dead spirochetes that still cause inflammation, it can take time to recover from your Lyme disease. But this nutritarian program gives you the best opportunity to recover from Lyme disease. Lyme disease has to be treated with an antibiotic. It's a spirochete like syphilis, and it can cause people to become blind and dead, and it's a very, and it should be treated, obviously. Heart arrhythmia and whatever, all the damage it can cause. But when it's treated, some people think they still have Lyme because they're still feeling sick. And they don't. They really don't have active Lyme in 999 cases. They've been adequately treated, and they just have dead spirochetes, but they're not well yet. They got to do everything else right to get well. Your diet if you have some post-Lyme syndrome, should be the same diet everybody else eats. This is not a fruit-based diet, but we allow people to eat 1 or 2 pieces of fruit with a meal. But this diet is predominantly a vegetable-based diet. My recommended BMI is below 22 for a woman and below 23 for a male if he's muscular, but I'm probably below 22, I think. Okay. I'm an athlete and I lift heavy weights. I'm 5'9". I should make my ideal weight 131. Is there any allowance for weight formula for muscle mass? Yeah, sure. I mean, to a degree. I don't know. Oh, you're a woman at 5'9", 131. So you're taller. For the average woman who's, let's say, 5'5", she should probably be above 120 pounds, below 120 pounds, 5'4", below 115 pounds. But then we got to add like 5 pounds for every. So probably if you're 5'9", you could add maybe some more pounds to that. So probably 130 pounds is reasonable for a 5'9" person. For a male, let's say especially if it's muscle, if a male at 5'9", I'm 5'9", I weigh 150 pounds. Certainly a male could be more muscular and bigger than I am and be 160 pounds and still be healthy. But not 180 pounds, that's going to be too much weight, because even extra muscle to a certain degree could be unhealthy, and you would have eaten, like for me to get to be 175 pounds when I weigh 150 pounds of muscle, I couldn't do it on my nutritarian diet. I have to eat more meat and more growth-promoting foods, and the extra meat and growth-promoting foods I would need to eat to get to be 175 pounds would be lifespan shortening. So even if my muscles even if I was all muscle at 175, like a huge power lifter guy with even bigger muscles than I have now, then I wouldn't be maximizing my lifespan. So even bigger muscles so what I'm saying is, I've been lifting weights a lot of my life, right? And I'm pretty muscular, but I can't get much bigger than I am now on the diet I'm on. To get bigger, I'd have to eat differently. But I don't want to get bigger and eat differently because it's not going to be good for my long-term health. So the diet does limit your size to a certain degree. Okay. My BMI is 21. My body fat is 32. I'm pear-shaped, kind of my weight in my hips and a small waist and chest. Should I keep losing or stay put? I'm 5'10" and 140. I presume that's a woman. If your body fat is 32, you probably should get a little lighter, because we want women to keep their body fat below 25% ideally. So you probably should get a little lighter. Let's see. Is there a minimum BMI for women? Yeah, we don't want people to BMI below 19. I'm 66. If I need to lose 100 pounds, what's the best way to start? The best way to start is to read my book, The End of Dieting, and underline it and go through every page and start to learn about what we talked about tonight, about how dieting, how you have to eat for health, and you have to learn how to eat properly and continue this eating for health. And you should be losing at least 2 pounds a week. Now, most people who start this program are dropping over 15 pounds the first month. I know if they come back and lost only 10 pounds and they have a lot of weight to lose, they didn't follow the program 100%, because they're going to lose 50 pounds if they followed 100%. And then in subsequent months, it slows down to 10 pounds a month and then to 8 pounds a month. But you should not let it slow down less than 8 pounds a month if you're significantly overweight. You should be losing 2 pounds a week. If you're not doing that, then you're not doing this properly. So you can communicate with them on the Dr. Fuhrman website if you're having a problem, through the forums. But the best way to start, obviously, is to read my book, The End of Dieting, and get started. How do you determine if too low? My husband's BMI is 18 and wants to gain weight, but has not been able to after 2 months of consuming more calories, especially more fat. You can't eat yourself into muscle. He gains weight. He has to go to the gym and lift heavier weights and lift weights. Next question. Is it healthy and advisable to build muscle mass? Yes. You can build muscle mass, and we want to be muscular and strong, but you can only build muscle mass to a certain degree. We don't want to have excessive muscle mass. In other words, this way of eating is great for a basketball player, a tennis player, even a receiver on a football team, but not for a linebacker, because linebackers have to be over 250 pounds. And you have to eat unhealthy to get that heavy. So they have to shorten their lifespan to get that to be a linebacker on a football team. So what I'm saying, the NOSH study showed that linebackers on football teams whose body weight, even muscle, at 250 pounds, had the shortest lifespan of any occupation in North America and has 6 times the rate of early cardiac death because of their extra size. We're not looking to get huge, but now we see top athletes like Kyrie Irving and Venus Williams and Roger Federer and Djokovic, and all these top athletes are eating this way to maximize their athletic performance, slow the aging process, and maintain their athletic powers moving forward. If they're later, as they get older, they're still going to be fit and young and not be prone to injury. But you not want to get as big as you can, but you want to get to have good muscle and bone mass. Okay, I'm an athlete runner, needs to be a nutritarian, don't want to feel full, is 4 days. Yes, it's okay. Yes, it's okay to eat 4 times a day as long as you go to bed on an empty stomach. Just stop eating, by a certain time in the day so you digest it fully. Okay. You're losing weight, not feeling deprived. We love your food ideas. They work. Thank you. That's terrific. Done water fasting 4 days twice this year. What are your thoughts on fasting for those extended periods of time, allowing ketosis for a day or two? Yeah, coming out fasting for a couple of days, going to ketosis, as long as you eat perfectly in between those fasts are okay. And I'm agreeing with you that doing longer fasts, I'm not advising these longer fasts, it's too stressful and you can't repeat them. So when you do them so infrequently, they're not going to be beneficial to you anyway. And the worst thing is when people go on these water fasts and they gain the weight back and they don't eat perfectly after the fast, and they actually worse off than had they never water fasted. They're better off never water fasting if they're going to eat poorly after the fast and gain the weight back and below. And believe it or not, most people that water fast don't stay on a healthy diet afterwards, and they gain the weight back, and they're better off having never fasted. So it's not a great idea in general to do those long water fasts, because a person has to be an accomplished nutritarian to know they're not going to cheat, because if you eat badly after the water fast and your metabolic rate slow that much, you're going to put the fat back on more faster, you're going to put on saturated fat, you can defeat all the benefits of the fast. It's better to do shorter fasts more intermittently and stay on the eating style, or drop dinners, or go on juicing for here and there for a day, or do periods of time where you're doing, semi-fasting or time-restricted eating, and occasionally do some days of water fasting, but don't think you're going to extend your life with these long fasts or yo-yoing your weight with those kind of things. Okay, next one. Can a nutritarian diet help with an electrical heart block causing a bradycardia? They want me to get a pacemaker, but I'm insisting on a test for thyroid and electrolyte balance. Am I on the right path? No. Yes, this diet can help you because it's not just you're looking for electrolyte balance in your thyroid problem. It's the fact that you're getting poor circulation to the areas of the electrical conductivity of your heart. And by the nutritarian diet helps, because we're going to get the fat out of your body and get your recirculation of both nutrients, antioxidants, healthy fats from nuts and seeds, and have reduced atherosclerosis, increasing oxygenation of the heart tissue. So all those things can help you could have the potential to help you, unless it's caused by something that, some other kind of damage that can't be helped. But usually those things can be helped. When am I coming to Australia? I don't know. When I get some invitation to do a major event there, I guess. I'm not planning on it, but it'll be fun. It'll be great to come to Australia. Can fatty liver be reversed with a nutritarian diet? It's always reversed on a nutritarian diet. It's reversed quickly. And fatty liver is reversed when you lose weight and eat healthfully. Thompson is organic rice. Okay, I heard you don't like rice due to its being toxic. That's right. I don't recommend rice anymore because the rice is contaminated with arsenic, and arsenic is a carcinogen. In other words, if you could find those truly wild rices that are harvested from natural marshes, but the minute they start to, even wild rice, when it's manufactured by commercial interests, even organic, they still pull in they use the fertilizers, they use chicken manures, and they suck up arsenic, and I don't really play around with rice much anymore, very occasionally. Let's see, more questions here. So here's a person with ankylosing spondylitis. which he would like to do. You know, ankylosing spondylitis is a strong genetic component, but it's still an autoimmune disease, and I have had a good recovery from that. Some of these people with autoimmune diseases like this come into my retreat in San Diego and stay for a few months, and we put them on not just the diet, but we also put them on juicing. We give them that 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 juice, which helps the immune system. We give them 1/3 cruciferous, that means 1/3 bok choy or cabbage juice, with 1/3 lettuce juice and 1/3 carrot and beet juice. We make those juices twice a day to build up their immune system. And of course, they do this whole program. So it depends about if your husband has this, whether he's really jumping in with both feet into this program or just doing it lightly, because it really takes a tremendous amount of dedication to do this perfectly so it can help with these autoimmune conditions. Yes, I think putting hot sauce on everything is not a great idea. It not only hyperstimulates the taste buds, but it weakens your ability to enjoy more subtle flavors when you're constantly overstimulating, making things too spicy or too hot. I don't think that's a great idea to eat your food super hot or to use everything so spicy. I think it actually, to a degree, lessens the sensitivity of the taste. Okay, yes, we shouldn't diet. We should change our lifestyle to a whole food, plant-based diet, a whole food, plant-based, nutritarian diet. There are plenty of, because whole food, plant-based is not good enough. It doesn't have enough technical nuances and tweaks to assure we're eating sufficiently of and partaking in all the powerful anti-cancer substances, particularly green vegetables. Particularly the most powerful anti-cancer foods are green cruciferous vegetables. We want to have a big salad every day with a lot of raw, and we want to have some of those vegetables cooked every day. We want to make sure we get beans and nuts and seeds and onions and, in other words, it's not sufficient to be vegan, and it's not even sufficient to be whole food plant-based to push that envelope of human longevity. That's the difference in what a nutritarian diet does. It doesn't miss checking any of those boxes that adds to slowing the aging process and protection of your brain and your life in later in life. So we want to stimulate those longevity proteins, want to make sure we're not missing any particular nutrients, want to make sure we're exposing ourselves to the right level of all the anti-cancer and lifespan slowing nutrients. This is person, her average 2 pounds a week for a long time. 6-week plan is the perfect thing to stick to. That's right, the 6-week plan and Eat to Live is a great plan to stick to. But of course, you just can go to one of my other books. The problem with Eat to Live is after the 6-week plan, it's too permissive for a food addict because it allows too much cheating, and those little cheats can somehow allow people to go back to their bad habits. It's better to stick with this strictly than the lifestyle part of Eat to Live. That's why I wrote other books to show that, so to make it clear that allowing 10% of cheating calories doesn't work for a lot of people and is not what I really recommend anymore. That's why she's saying the 6-week plan, because the 6-week plan is really the best part, staying with the perfect part, not allowing those things to sneak back into your diet. In other words, by putting both feet in and making full dedication, this becomes easier, not harder. When you're still dabbling in the other world of cheat foods all the time, it keeps you wanting those foods, and it keeps it harder to stay consistent because you're always in a stressful situation making decisions. Stop making decisions. Make one decision. Just live this way and do it. It's easier to do, especially for overweight people. And you get consistent results and consistent weight loss. Because just going off in one meal can slow the weight loss, can stop the weight loss for a whole week. Just one corn muffin. I remember it's funny because this guy came into my retreat. This was when I had a retreat in Flemington like 20 years ago. And he was losing a pound a day. A lot of people come in for 30 days and lose 30 pounds. This guy was there 21 days, he lost 21 pounds. He lose a pound a day. And then he went, one night he left, and he went to a vegan singles dance and had a corn muffin and some macaroni salad. And he came back 3 pounds heavier. And then he lose weight, but it took him like the rest of that week to get that extra weight off, because he stopped detoxifying. We're losing weight because your body's throwing out extra water weight too from all the toxins, because your body has to hold on to water to dilute the toxicity of your coming out of your body, all those acids and aldehydes. What I'm saying right now is that because of that one cheat meal, he didn't lose weight the whole week after losing a pound a day for 21 days straight. In other words, a little bit of cheating just derails your progress. Is it unhealthy to lose more slowly, like half a pound a week? No, that could be very healthy if you're not that overweight, but if you're significantly overweight, like 40 pounds or more overweight, then a half a pound a week of weight loss means you're not eating healthy enough. You're not, if you were eating healthy, you'd lose faster weight than that. So it tells me that your diet is not healthy if you're only losing half a pound a week. So it's not healthy to lose that slowly unless you're gravitating towards your ideal weight. As you get closer to your ideal weight and the weight loss slows down, you still could be eating healthy. Are some starches greater than others? Of course, we score starches on a hierarchical scale of quality, and the healthiest starches or the healthiest foods, the lowest glycemic starches, are beans and peas. And don't underestimate the power of soybeans and soaking soybeans overnight in water to soften them, these dried soybeans. I'm saying buy the dried beans. They're very inexpensive. Soak them overnight. And you know what? Pour the water off and then put them in the freezer. And when you put these in the freezer, the freezing process on the soybean softens the fibers, and when you take them out and let them defrost them to cook them in your dish, they become softer and easier to digest. And they're a superfood. They're probably the most anti-cancer beans because they have anti-estrogenic effects on the breast tissue, but they have pro-estrogenic effects on your bones. So they prevent osteoporosis as they reduce breast cancer. Okay, we're coming to a close here. What do you do for skin cancer? Gluten bad for you? Yes, and being in Naples. All right, so that's correct. So we're wrapping this up, and yes, that's true that skin cancer is also helped by this because it gives you that orange tinge to your skin. It takes months, but the nutrients penetrate the skin. So obviously, if you're prone to actinic keratosis, which is a precancerous condition, or skin cancers, this is the program for you, but of course you wanted probably juice. Use the green juice mix because it takes too long to get the nutrients into the skin. We want to get them in there in a few months, not in a year. So we add those juices, that juice mix of 1/3 cruciferous, 1/3 lettuce, 1/3 carrot and beet to help you bring the phytochemicals into the skin at a faster rate to help with skin cancer. Okay, that's great. We went for 50 minutes. We had 200 people here. A lot of people came in late, but they eventually got here, which is really good. I guess if you missed the beginning, you can go back and listen to it again. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hope you got something out of it and look forward to doing this again. And of course, wishing you all the best of health and a happy upcoming year. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Appreciate you guys too. Have fun. Have a great week. Have a nice Thanksgiving. And stay eating healthy. Signing out. Sayonara. Whatever they say.